Folks, she shouldn't be allowed to run. Okay, sure. There's virtually no doubt that FBI Director Comey and the great special agents of the FBI will be able to collect more than enough evidence to garner indictments against Hillary Clinton and her inner circle, despite her efforts to disparage them and to discredit them. If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In that situation, we could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial. It would grind government to a halt.
Wow.
Well, that was then candidate Donald Trump just 3 days before the 2016 election, saying a president under felony indictment would grind the government to a halt and create a constitutional crisis. He got the premise right, just the players wrong, as he is now the first former U.S. president and candidate to be convicted of a crime.
I mean, this is what he said. She should not be able to run. It would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis if someone with a felony was running for president and got elected. It would grind government to a halt. Also, taking note that at that time, Donald Trump actually didn't despise the FBI and hate the FBI. He actually loved the FBI because it's all situational, just like he loves this country in a situational way, just like too many of his supporters only love this country if Donald Trump is president of the United States. And if Donald Trump's not the president of the United States, they turn on the men and the women of the FBI. They turn on America. They turn on American democracy. They say this country is horrible. It's all very situational, not the way I was raised. I love this country. I don't turn flags upside down. If my candidate doesn't win, I don't lie for 4 years and say my candidate really won elections. It's crazy, but she would be she should not be able to run an unprecedented constitutional crisis.
The country would grind to a halt.
I mean, so the question, Mika, is really here. Again, it's never about Trump.
No.
It's about... How's it going on your phone?
Just getting your coffee hot.
Oh, you want it hot?
You want it hot.
Okay.
I was letting them know.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's very kind of you.
You're welcome.
So,
Someone's got to do it.
You must have thought I was lagging here and I wasn't awake enough. But, I mean, it's not Donald Trump that we're surprised by. It's the people that continue to follow a guy who is so clearly a hypocrite, who so clearly is situational, who goes from saying he loves the FBI to hating the FBI, who goes from saying America is the worst country in the world to saying America is great again, and then when he loses, saying he didn't lose and America is a terrible country again. And, you know, his family calls this country a shithole country. America, the greatest country on the face of the earth. By just about every measure. I mean, I believe that. I love America. And I love America. I love America. I don't see it through the prism of who's sitting in the White House on whether this is a great country or not. It's a great country. Sometimes I think some presidents are better than others. But my God, it's staggering.
Yeah.
That Donald Trump's supporters...
That's what's staggering.
Convince themselves that they hate America because Donald Trump says he hates America because America is weak. And they rag on the military all the time. They say it's weak and woke. We got the most powerful military in the world. They rag on our economy, saying our economy's terrible. Some saying, oh, it's going toward a depression. We have the strongest economy in the world. Relative to the rest of the world, there's not a close second. America is more powerful today than it has been in a very long time relative to the rest of the world. That's just the reality of it.
Despite what you think of Joe Biden, but I think the thing that's most troubling and scary and frightening about this and deadly serious is the Republican Party and the RNC.
It's sad.
That part of this equation is where we don't know how this ends.
It's sad, and it's sad primarily for the Republican Party because they're going to lose again. And after all these years of losing from 2017 through 2023, Jonathan Lemire, you think they would have learned by now. I'm dead serious here. You think they would have, occasionally some people will get on other shows and say, they're always attacking the Republican. I'm here. I've been on a mission of mercy since 2016, trying to save the Republican Party from themselves.
Deeply generous.
They haven't listened, and they've lost. They didn't listen in 2017, and they lost. They didn't listen in 2018, and they lost. They didn't listen in 2019, and they lost. 2020, they lost. 21, they lost. 22, 23, they lost. And so they always think they're so clever. They always think they're so tough. They're the 1962 New York Mets. And at some point, somebody needs to wake up and go, hey, guys, we suck at this game of politics. We need a new manager.
Think of the moments that Republicans could have cut Donald Trump loose. They could have parted ways with him. Right after the November 2020 election, they chose not to. Right after January 6th and that subsequent impeachment trial, when it did seem like he was at his low water mark, they chose not to. During the January 6th committee hearings, when all that was resurfaced for national consumption, they chose not to. After the 2022 midterms, when Trump's candidates, particularly for the Senate, lost, where Donald Trump lost, and people were questioning whether he should even run again. And he rushed his campaign announcement, and there was a sense he was doing so to try to avoid prosecution, but it wasn't actually being anything good for the party. They could have done it then. They chose not to. And now, during the primary process, they could have gone another direction. Trump refused to even debate his rivals. Republicans chose not to. E. Jean Carroll, and now this. A moment where there's a criminal conviction, and not only are Republicans not cutting Donald Trump loose, they're wrapping themselves even tighter to him, with very few exceptions. Republicans have come out in recent days and denounced this as a travesty of justice, rallied behind Donald Trump, and suggested that this was a Department of Justice witch hunt, that it was a political prosecution, and they have attached their fate to his yet again. And there is no sense that that's going to change between now and November. And we are seeing, as we'll get into this morning, some early polls that suggest modest but real movement away from Trump after this conviction. Their warning signs are there for these Republicans, and they're ignoring them.
And that's the thing, Mika, is maybe Marco Rubio thinks attacking juries plays well with his base. I'm not so sure. I mean, I think most Americans respect other Americans that sit for 6 weeks, do a good job. Even Trump's own attorney said the jury was serious. They did a good job, but
paid attention.
They paid attention,
and
he did not find fault with them at all. He said that they paid attention and did their job. But you get Marco Rubio and other Republicans who, again, because they want Donald Trump to notice them, attack an institution like America's jury system, and then compares the United States of America, the USA, compares us to Castro's communist Cuba.
Who are
you? It is, what's happened to Marco Rubio? Where is he? Because that is so deeply unsettling. Not for us, for him, for the Republican Party, for the people who vote for him, for the people who vote for this Republican Party. Because you're losing when you talk this way, when you attack the rule of law, when you attack the FBI, when you attack jurors, maybe you get $25 in fundraising, like, blitzes, but you lose independent voters. You lose swing voters in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, and you lose elections. And they keep doing this, and they keep losing elections. And I wonder, how long can they keep going off the cliff this guy?
At some point, people who are cluing into this election, which historically starts to happen in the months and days before an election, they're going to see all these Republicans saying this is the Biden Justice Department. They're going to be parroting Trump, who says it's Biden, it's Biden. Well, Hunter Biden is going to court. So Biden must be the worst co-opter of the Justice Department on earth if this is the Biden Justice Department, which we all know there's no evidence of that in this New York criminal trial where Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts. 34 across the board from beginning to end. Every single count was guilty. That's resounding. So, good luck with that argument. It only lasts until people start reading.
Well, yeah.